Citi News.
It's midday. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Citi Prime News. We are coming to you live from our studios at number 11, Dr. Martin Loop in Adabraka, Accra. My name is Adjuatin Kramadomina. Coming up, Subsidiary Legislation Committee of Parliament, which approved increasing cost of dialysis, describes it as an error.
I told them that there were a lot of errors and time had run out on us, and therefore they should bring an addendum for us to correct the errors, including this issue of dialysis.
Also coming up, Member of Parliament for North Tong Samuel Okujeton Ablakwa dares SNIT to provide evidence of claims Rock City presented the best offer for its hotels.
You cannot just say that Brian Champions Rock City put up the best offer. Where is the evidence? Where is the proof?
Still in this package, Sola Tunakalba dissect to hold crunch meeting this afternoon over tensions which resulted in the burning of a shop and vehicle in the area.
One of the local youth officers who was beat at home, his name is Matthew Chupste. That his car has also been burned down at Nyoli. Nyoli is just after.
And later, Minister of Health calls for calm among nursing trainees following the failure of government to pay the allowances as promised by Vice President Dr. Baumia.
But as we speak, hundreds of thousands of nurses have had support from the Kufado government. And it is also true, there are hundreds of thousands who are calling for days to come. We will work hard to make sure that everybody receives what is due them. This is the kind of government we have to support.
Stay with us for details of these and more stories coming your way in the next 30 minutes. Do remember that the bulletin is live around the globe on citinewsroom.com. On Facebook, you can find us on Citi 97.3 FM across the country. We are live on a number of affiliates. In the Western region, this is Premier 100.5 FM in Takoradi Beach, 105.5 FM in Takoradi. In the Bunu region, Greener FM 95.9 in Sunyang. In the Ashanti region, you can tune into Orange FM 107.9 in Kumasi. In the Volta region, this is Akpini Radio 96.7 in Pando, Heritage 107.3 Hohoi. In the Northern region, tune into Dasuma 99.1 FM in Yendi. In the Upper East region, you can equally find us on Word 88.3 FM in Zwarungu. In the Upper West region, Westlink 88.1 FM. And in the Northeast region, Eagle FM 94.1. Please stay for details.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Grateful for your time this afternoon. We start from dialysis, and the Subsidiary Legislation Committee of Parliament says the approval of the increase in the cost of dialysis was done in error. Dialysis sessions at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital were increased from 380 to 491 Ghana cedis, with many kidney patients stating they may not be able to afford the critical care for their survival. While speaking on the floor of Parliament after concerns were raised about the increase, the chairman of the Subsidiary Legislation Committee, Dr. Dominic Ayene, said the error that led to the increase will be rectified.
I told them that there were a lot of errors and time had run out on us, and therefore they should bring an addendum for us to correct the errors, including this issue of dialysis. I told the honorable member for Joabuso that this was where we were with the issue. There are a number of them, and the honorable Abinao said they are preparing to bring the addendum to Parliament, so we correct those errors, because Mr. Speaker knows that under Article 11.7 of the Constitution, we cannot touch anything, as the Supreme Court said, we can't change anything that has been laid. So that was the advice that I gave them, and the Minister of Finance has accepted that advice, and that is where we stand. So, Mr. Speaker, that I am sure very, very, very soon the errors will be corrected.
That was Dominic Ayene, Dr. Dominic Ayene. He's chairman of the Subsidiary Legislation Committee of Parliament. Will stay in Parliament because the minority has stressed the need for the Finance Committee to critically examine government's tax waivers requests for companies under the One District, One Factory policy. The caucus contends that some of the tax waiver requests, which amount to about $450 million, are fraught with irregularities, warranting proper scrutiny before possible approval. Speaking in Parliament, the minority leader Dr. Kesiel Atuforsen questioned the government's decision to grant such tax exemptions despite its fiscal challenges.
At that meeting, we started the consideration of the 42 tax waivers. Mr. Speaker, the first one was shut down unanimously because, Mr. Speaker, it was obvious that it is riddled with a lot of irregularities to the extent that we could not continue. Mr. Speaker, they brought the second one. We shut it down again unanimously. It was at that point when we move on to the third one that the committee decided collectively that in view of the detailed work that we have to do, let us refer the matter to the finance. Let us ask the finance committee to engage in serious work after today, so that by the time we are back, the finance committee can present reports. Mr. Speaker, I am at a loss. A government that is struggling with the fiscal, a government that is struggling with revenue, is only interested in eroding the taxes with tax waivers. I'm at a loss. What at all do you want this tax exemption for? Mr. Speaker, unless there's something there that I don't understand, other than that, Mr. Speaker, I smell something fishy.
Well, you heard the minority leader, Dr. Kesiel Atuforsen. On his part, his colleague on the majority side, Alexander Apenyo-Markin, took a swipe at the Finance Committee for what he deems as delays by the committee to consider the exemptions.
All these years, Mr. Speaker, we are in 2024. We should back our actions in good faith. Nobody should be under the impression that Parliament as plenary cannot function without committees. Nobody should be under that impression, Mr. Speaker. It is true that we work through committees for effectiveness and efficiency, but it doesn't mean that when a committee is unduly being unreasonable, plenary cannot take action. Mr. Speaker, that must be clear. That is why I challenge them that anybody with a constitutional provision that prevents the House as a plenary from taking a matter up should tell me so that I rest my case. Mr. Speaker, you've given advice. I would want to urge the minority leader. Mr. Speaker, he has been loud on this matter that I'm against tax exemption. And anytime he talks about tax exemption, he creates the impression as if the government does not know what it's doing. When you give incentives, you are aiding production. I'm not an economist, but that is science economics.
You heard the majority leader in Parliament, Alexander Apenyo-Markin. Away from that now, the Member of Parliament for North Tongue, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, has challenged the Social Security and National Insurance Trust SNIT to provide further evidence that Rock City Hotel presented the best offer in its decision to sell off 60% of its stakes in 6 hotels to a private investor. Mr. Ablakwa has petitioned the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, SHRAJ, to investigate and stop the sale of the hotels to the Minister for Food and Agriculture, Dr. Brian Ichampong. He cited, among other things, conflict of interest, abuse of power, lack of due process, as well as procurement breaches as reason for the probe. Now, SNIT, in a response, explained that a process for partnership started way back in 2018 and was in its final stages and therefore not yet concluded. Well, in a counter-reaction, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa tells City News SNIT's statement leaves more questions than answers.
Appeal to His Excellency President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. It is President Akufo-Addo who told us when he became president that he has told his people that if you want to make money, don't come and serve in my government. My government is not for business. My government is not for making money. If you want to make money, stay in the private sector. So what happened to this pledge of the president and this directive he told us that he has given his men and women? How is it that those in government are engaged in this very offensive and absolutely unhelpful business transactions, which are inimical to the economic fortunes of our country.
Well, we'll bring you that audio later, but let's bring you this other story while we get that audio for you. The minority spokesperson on Works and Housing, Emmanuel Kwesi-Bajwa, is demanding a forensic audit into the Greater Accra Resilience and Integrated Development Project, GARID. The $200 million World Bank loan is aimed at improving flood risk management and waste management in the Odo River Basin, among others. But Parliament passed an additional $150 million to facilitate the execution of GARID's mandate, a decision the minority opposed. Speaking to host of the City Breakfast Show, Bernard Avle, Emmanuel Kwesi-Bajwa raised value for money concerns.
They have their numbers. We do not have the numbers, and so they pass it with the majority decision. That's the majority of people. So we did not run away at all. We were there, we were counted, and they have the numbers more than that. That's why they pass it. And that's one. Two, I've requested, and the minority leader also requested, that there should be forensic auditing of, one, the World Bank itself, office in Ghana, and two, of the project itself. Now, we have suspicion that there's something that is not right. Why do I say that? As a professional, you are a media person and other professionals are. In my field, if you have a project and you design a project, the highest you can go is either 10% or 20% or maximum 30% additional works. Now, in this case, you are going close to about 60% for additional work. That gives you, it tells you that at the initial stage that you are doing the design, you did not consider a lot of things. And so that project should be phased. It should be second phase, not the continuation of the other one.
Well, the government has defended the additional request for $150 million loan, citing cost overruns, compensations, and COVID-19 expenditures. But Emmanuel Bajwa cited instances of non-performance of contracts despite the disbursement of funds.
There is a question that we all need to answer. Then I requested that, look, when I went to the site, the three sites, the four sites that we went to, there was no appreciable work done there. The first site, I gave about 25%, another 20%, another 15%. You could see clearly that the contractors are not, they just started work. In fact, one of them told us that they just started the work just this February. That was when the site was given to us after 4 years. Then one of them that even got me angry was the father when we called. He said he doesn't even know the site. He has not been to the site. That guy has been paid $2 million. But he doesn't even know the site. He's not been given the site. Why? Because compensation has not been paid to the people, and therefore he's not being sent to the site by the client.
You heard Emmanuel Bajwa. He's a minority spokesperson on the Works and Housing Committee. Well, let's stay on this because the Greater Accra Resilience and Integrated Development Project, GARID, has refuted claims of misappropriation of funds and dereliction of its flood preparedness and resilience efforts. The project's public relations manager, Philip Denyo, disclosed that works at the various dredging and drainage expansion sites are ongoing as planned. Let's go live onto the phones and speak with my colleague Jude Duncan, who is currently at the Agbobloshi drainage expansion site. Good afternoon. What can you report? Is construction still ongoing as claimed?
Good afternoon, Ajwa. Yes, you're right. Work is ongoing here at the Achimota Aloboshi area drainage expansion as part of the Greater Accra Resilience and Integrated Development Project to mitigate the impact of the capital's flooding problems. Upon my arrival here at the Aloboshi area, I've seen and engaged with the contractor of the project, Mr. Rapkujo, who tells me that work is going on as planned and was quite confident of meeting the deadline set for the completion of the project or the drainage expansion project. Myself, I've seen drainage slabs being erected in the drain, which leads to the main Odo River Basin, really, from the Aloboshi area and other construction.
Very well. Thank you so much for speaking with us. Jude Duncan is my colleague here in the Citi Newsroom. He was talking to us about the Greater Accra Resilience and Integrated Development Project and concerns raised about the relation of its flood preparedness and resilience. Let's bring you this headline story we brought to you earlier. The Member of Parliament for Norton, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, challenging SNIT to provide further evidence that Rock City Hotel presented the best offer in its decision to sell off 60% of its stake in 6 hotels at a private investor. You know that SNIT has been responding to these claims, explaining that the process for partnership started in 2018 and was in its final stages and therefore not yet concluded. But the Member of Parliament has been reacting to City News.
You cannot just say that Brian Champions Rock City put up the best offer. Where is the evidence? Where is the proof? You must let us know by way of the financials and the technical submissions that were made by all the bidders. That has not been done. We cannot just take SNIT's word for it. When SNIT has a track record with Brian Champions Rock City, a few days ago, I put out evidence that when SNIT was selling 25% of its share in the Grand Royal Hotel in Kumasi, the offer that Brian Champions Rock City made was far below the valuation of the 25% share. The shares were valued at 8.6 million Ghana cedis, and yet Rock City offered 7.4 million. And even that, SNIT allowed Rock City to pay in installment. And as we speak, since 2022, Rock City has not paid fully. So we know the track record. We know the cozy cronyism that goes on between SNIT and Rock City. And we are saying that we will not allow that to continue.
You heard the Member of Parliament for Norton, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa. You're still listening to the Citi Prime News. When we return, Minister of Health is calling for calm among nursing trainees following the failure of government to pay the allowances as promised by the Vice President.
Outstanding junior high school student in Ghana is on. Do you think that it could be you who goes home with 10,000 Ghana cedis and a glitzy trophy? Then, in not less than 600 words, write about the role of the youth in shaping the future of Ghana. What changes would you like to see, and how can young people contribute to making them happen? Script must be in your own handwriting. Script must be endorsed by parents. Add your full contact details. Deadline, Saturday the 13th of July 2024. Submit entries to the front desk of Citi TV and Citi FM or mail them to P.O. Box GP 14123 Accra Central. For inquiries, call 0205 973 973. The Literacy Challenge 2024 is powered by Citi TV, supported by Citi FM, and is sponsored by Ghana National Gas Company, Alive Soap, and Fortune Spread.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Yeah, welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Now, let's bring you some other stories. The Ministry of Health has urged nursing trainees to remain calm amidst delays in the disbursement of the allowances. This appeal comes after Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia announced the allocation of 177 million cedis to the Health Ministry for settling outstanding allowances for nursing trainees nationwide. During the handing over of 2 buses to the Lekma Hospital and the University of Ghana Medical Center, the Health Minister designate Dr. Bernard Okoboy assured of the government's commitment to paying the arrears with significant progress already made.
I have cited communiques from Ministry of Health to Ministry of Finance and back and forth, showing that we pay some 170 million Ghana cedis 177 for over 100,000 nurses, covering I think about 4 months of payment. Look, the message here is very simple. There are thousands of nurses who have had allowances paid to them by this government. But it is also true that there are others whose payments are in arrears. We have decided to work hard to sustain and to pay these arrears. You have to choose between the one who says, I'll pay you, pays you and sometimes owes you, and the other one who says that I can't pay these things at all. And so, if you had the other government led by John Mahama For the past 8 years, it will be zero for all nurses in Ghana. But as we speak, hundreds of thousands of nurses have had support from the Akufo-Addo government. And it is also true, there are hundreds of thousands who are calling for days to come. We will work hard to make sure that everybody receives what is due them. This is the kind of government you have to support. The one who says, I'll shoulder this trouble, I'll shoulder this burden, I'll work hard to sustain it. It's better than the one who says, this is too much load for me, I can't carry. The choice is yours. Help us and we'll shoulder the system.
Health Minister designate Dr. Bernard Okoboy. Away from that, the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers COPEC has described as unnecessary the new appointment to the Bulk Oil Storage and Transportation Company Board. President Akufo-Addo on Friday appointed a former Deputy Attorney General, Joseph Penka, as the new Deputy Managing Director of the company. The appointment of Mr. Penka has been described by former Power Minister Dr. Kwabena Donkor as unconstitutional. While speaking to City News on the development, Executive Secretary of COPEC, Duncan Amwa, says such appointment to state-owned enterprises further compounds the operational cost.
The trend of now pushing people into our corporate governance structure just a few months into a major election clearly is one that will leave many analysts funded wondering what exactly the motive of the appointer is. Again, you would wonder what exactly the scope of work is that we would need to, as it were, urgently be filling up for. Clearly, not too good for corporate governance, if you ask some of us, but that's where we are. Vacancies that we create in these SOEs, do they contribute positively or negatively to their growth or outlook? I think that we put unnecessary pressure on these SOEs who, in the end, will end up just posting losses because they were avoidable that the government itself, along the line, placed on them.
You heard the Executive Secretary of COPEC, Duncan Amwa. Now, two members of the National Democratic Congress are in the grips of the police in Gushegu in the northern region following a fight that ensued during the Electoral Commission's limited voter registration exercise in the area involving supporters of the New Patriotic Party and the National Democratic Congress. The fight was over allegations that the NPP's Member of Parliament for Tatale Sanguli constituency bars people from neighboring Togo to register, but the NDC resisted the move, leading to altercations between members of the two parties. One woman was hospitalized when she fell from the tricycle they were on. The police later arrested two people who were later sent to Yendi. Samson Tayaria J has been speaking to City News and providing details of the incident, and he says that the NDC going forward would move into the Togo communities to educate them on reasons why they should not come to Ghana to register for the ongoing limited voter registration exercise. Now, away from that, the District Security Council of the Sola Tuna Kauba district in the Savannah region says it will hold a crunch meeting this afternoon following potential tensions in the Borifo area. According to City News sources, a shop and a vehicle were torched overnight by unidentified assailants after an alleged disagreement over levies imposed by the Chief of Kong. The district chief executive reported that he received information about a contribution demanded from residents by the Kong chief. Some Borifo youth disagreeing with this demand raised concerns. However, they were later assaulted, allegedly after being invited by the palace for a meeting on the issue. Speaking to City News, the district chief executive Jacob Dumakawe noted that a calm has been restored to the area.
Somewhere around 6:30 p.m., I got a call from that same assemblyman that his shop in Jindabo had been burned down. So immediately I called the district police commander and he said he also heard, but he's at Calabar, where he was also supervising the limited voter registration. And therefore, he has called the Tuna Station police commander or police officer to take action. So I called the Kongura to find out from him what was happening there. In fact, first I called the assemblyman for the area. And the assemblyman for the area said, yes, it's true. And he was now even struggling to take the assemblyman's children to safety. So I called the Congress. The Congress said he was not aware of what had happened. Somewhere midnight, around 1 a.m., 2 a.m., I got a call again that one of the local youth officers who was beat at Kong, his name is Matthew Chokste, that his car has also been burned down at Nyoli. Nyoli is just after Jindabo. So this morning, I reported to the regional minister. And I think the regional police commander, who is Paul, was instructed and they have deployed men and women to Jindabo.
Has there been any arrest so far?
There hasn't been any arrest.
So as DISEC, what's the decision going forward?
Yeah, we are going to hold a DISEC meeting this afternoon. It is from there we're going to the decision on how we get settlement for this issue.
In the interim, how will you describe the security situation in the area?
Well, I think it's calm.
Well, regarding the levies imposed by the Kong chief, the DCE says that a decision will be made in the meeting on whether to hold the demand.
If DISEC recommends that we engage other meeting to see how this decision can be rescinded. But as of now, I'm not able to tell whether that is the way or that's the...
In any case, do you have the men enough to handle issues in case this whole thing escalates further?
For the divisional command, that is Bole, Tuna, Sola, I think we have, yes.
You heard a DCE for Sola Tunakalba Assembly, Jacob Dumakawe, speaking with my colleague Fred Duho. Moving on now, the Media Foundation for West Africa says it has lost hope in the current government to probe the death of investigative journalist Ahmed Hussein Swale. Speaking at the third African Media Convention in Accra, the president reaffirmed his government's determination to bring the killers of Ahmed Swale to justice 5 years after his death. Now, in an interview with Citi News, manager of the Freedom of Expression program at the Media Foundation, Muhib Sahid, said the government has shown beyond doubt it is uninterested in finding justice for the family of the dead journalist.
For us at the Media Foundation for West Africa, and I believe most of the media fraternity in Ghana, the chapter of Ahmed Swale is closed as far as this government is concerned. We say this on the basis of the attitude of the government towards this issue. The president himself has on 2 occasions contested the suggestion that Ahmed Swale was killed because of his work as a journalist. The Attorney General has done same. On 2 occasions, the Attorney General has appeared before Parliament and told Parliament that he doesn't have any docket that for the purpose of prosecution. Unfortunately, also, we don't have any update from the police as far as this case is concerned. So we have given up as far as this government's commitment to finding the attackers of Ahmed Swale is concerned.
The Media Foundation for West Africa, however, indicated that it is ready to support the family of Ahmed Swale to pursue justice on the matter, including petitioning the ECOWAS Court of Justice for remedies.
If they want to pursue avenues for remedy, that is possible. For example, they can approach the ECOWAS Court of Justice, seeking the courts to pronounce a judgment on the attitude of the Ghanaian government towards the murder of Ahmed Swale, and to order the government to conduct thorough and credible investigations into the murder. That is possible. The family might also be coming to terms with the reality that this is not going anywhere and might be healing. And so we wouldn't want to be the ones to go and dig up this issue if it is something that they themselves have been considering and want to take it up. The Media Foundation for West Africa would provide support.
Muhib Sahid is manager for the Freedom of Expression program at the Media Foundation for West Africa, bringing us to the end of today's edition of the Citi Prime News, which has been live from our studio in Adabraka, Accra. For more stories, you can log on to citinewsroom.com. I am Ajwa Tinkrama Domna. Thank you for listening. Good afternoon.
Citi News. We speak first. Reach our hotline on 0302 224959 and get interactive on Facebook, Citi 97.3 FM, and on Twitter at Citi 973.
Citi 97.3. More variety.